This is an exclusive interview with Kevin J. Johnston of the Freedom Report. He's also a co-host of Arana Nation. And for those of you who don't know or who didn't watch his live Instagram, he was arrested live on Instagram. He was ambushed by about 5 police officers from the Peel region, and he was arrested on charges of breaching his bail. And that bail condition was he wasn't allowed to go anywhere near Mississauga City Hall, which I believe is completely ridiculous. How can somebody who's a resident of Peel region not go near their city hall? But in any case, he's out now, and he joins me now. Kevin, I hope you can hear me. I hope you're doing well. But what I heard was really disturbing. What I saw was really disturbing, and I'm glad that you were able to get a video of it. And again, if you're just joining us, Kevin J. Johnston of the Freedom Report, and who's also the co-host of Arana Nation. Here he is. He joins me now. Looks good for a guy who was in jail for a few minutes. Arrested, ambushed by 5 police officers. By the way, please buy Kevin's book, Masks Are Bullshit. You get that on kevinjjohnston.ca. And you can also get Lacrosse is Dead. Now, that's a pretty funny book. I mean, it's so funny. I told Kevin it's funny, and I told him, I want you to put that on the cover. Tell everybody that I said that was funny, and I don't laugh very often.
No, he doesn't. There it is right there.
Yeah.
The funniest book I've ever read. Michael Arana, Arana Nation. You made the front cover, baby, because, Mike, you're correct. You don't belly laugh. But, when you do, it's like a volcano's going off. That's the crazy part of it, right? So, thank you for doing this.
Absolutely. I know you've just now come out, and I'm glad that you were able to come on my channel first. And I want to just go through. I've already told everybody why you were arrested, but you.
Well, you're partially correct.
Okay, I want you to tell me what else have I missed here.
Okay, here's what's going on, everybody. Let's cover this. 2014, I ran for mayor of Mississauga. I placed 11th, but I absolutely, utterly smoked Mississauga Mayor Bonnie Crombie 5 times, not once, but 5 times in open debate. I humiliated her because she thought she was prepared with a binder this thick of answers that were pre-written, and I was there with nothing in front of me except for an iPad and a couple quick notes, and I would just boom, 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 fire everything off at her. Well, or at the audience. Yeah. She held that over my head forever. When I announced in 2017 that I was going to run for mayor of Mississauga, 2 weeks later, cops are at my door arresting me for, hate speech. And what Bonnie Crombie thought is that I was going to take a deal with the Crown and end up with some kind of criminal record that may preclude me from running for office, which was actually not the case. If you have a criminal record, it doesn't make a difference. You still run for office. And with that arrest, it was such a weak charge, Mike, that the Crown attorney offered me, before I even had a lawyer, offered me a 6-month suspended sentence, no criminal record, but I would have had to been on house arrest for 2 months and then off of the internet for 3 years. So if I had taken that deal, I would have been on the internet probably about a month ago. That's how long it's been since that arrest took place. I, of course, told the guy where to go. Well, Bonnie Crombie still has a big hard-on for me, and she wants to make sure that I am as uncomfortable as is humanly possible. So she had the bail condition written back in 2017 that I could not be within 300 meters of her. Fine.
You don't want to be near her anyway.
Oh no! I like the smell, the negativity,
you might get the plague.
The bad aura, the looks. I just don't want to be near that individual. I'd much rather see you naked, dancing around in ice cream and fluff than ever see her again within 50 yards.
That's a bad
I just
insult.
don't want to see her, Mike.
Man, that's a tough insult for her. Wow. Okay.
Yes. Well, there we go. I love you, buddy.
Yeah.
But with Bonnie Crombie, she had it written that I couldn't be near her. So when we went to City Hall with my banners, which are these ones here, this is a 13-foot long banner that's 4.5 feet high. I went there because I wanted to talk to the bylaw officers that work in there to say, hey, listen, you guys, you still haven't told me if you have authority over people or just the city staff, which I know that they only have authority over city staff. Bylaws do not pertain to you and me, the people, or we the people. Well, we phoned in advance to make sure that Bonnie Crombie was not in the building. And she was not in the building. Her staff confirmed that for us. And that's why I said, fine, if Bonnie's not there, I can go. That's the way the bail conditions were written. Well, the officer that wanted to be arrested didn't know that. He assumed I couldn't go to City Hall, period. That's not what the bail condition said.
Whoa. So the bail condition didn't say that you had to be near City Hall.
The word City Hall did not appear in my bail conditions at all.
What in the actual hell? Continue, and I'm gonna save my Arana. I'm gonna save this for no. Continue.
Okay, so to keep on this is, you guys know that last year the police arrested me for interviewing a Crown attorney who was a big baby and a coward and whatnot. And to be spiteful, he filed false charges against me. They hit me with only one charge, but it was that one charge they wanted. It was the excuse they needed to be completely disrespectful and bash on my door at 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning and drive my family up the wall. This is what this particular officer chose to do. He didn't have to do that. He could have phoned and said, hey, could you turn yourself in? Which I would do. Well, that's what landed me in Maplehurst prison for 6 weeks. And that was done deliberately because they know they cannot get me into jail for anything real. So they have to make deals with individual detectives and individual justices of the peace to skirt the system a little bit to get me in there. That was their plan, expecting me to be quiet, which I'm not going to do. I'm just not going to do. But today, so let's backtrack to yesterday. I got an email from my lawyer saying there's an officer that wants you to turn yourself in tomorrow at 10 a.m., being today at 10 a.m. I said, well, I don't know what the charges are. I have no clue what he wants. Let him know that we need to speak to the Crown Attorney in advance and the police chief in advance, and let's figure out what this is, and I'll turn myself in peacefully on Monday morning. Well, my lawyer, we do have the right to ask for that, and even in Toronto, the cops will say, oh, you're coming in Monday? No problem. That's what they'll say. Mississauga is different. It's 50-50. They might say, yes, come in, or they might say, no, don't come in. We'll come get you. They didn't give me an answer at all. They didn't give my lawyer an answer at all. I drop my son off at work. I pull into the driveway in a borrowed car. Boom! Ambush! SUV, black Mercedes? A Mercedes? Are you kidding me? And they use this car to block the driveway, and 5 cops get out. 5 cops are standing on the driveway, and that's when I turned off the car.
Yeah.
So they wouldn't assume I'm trying to get away. I showed them, I took the keys out of the ignition. I said, I'm going to call my lawyer. And he's knocking on the glass saying, could you come out, please? I said, hold on, I got to call my lawyer. Because if I got out immediately, then I would already be in custody. I wouldn't have the right to make that phone call. So I made the phone call to my lawyer in advance saying they're here on the driveway, after not making a deal to let me come in on Monday. Here they are with this big ambush. So I was on the phone with my lawyer for 10 minutes. He goes to a second phone line, makes a couple of arrangements with the Crown Attorney, talks to somebody at the police station, and he says, okay, Kevin, you're fine. Everything's going to be okay, and go ahead and get out. That's when I went to Instagram and just showed everyone, I'm going to be arrested now, everybody. And I put my phone up on the dashboard to show you that it was real. I'm not going to make this stuff up. Because this here, it's backwards here, because I was on Instagram last night, and it's forward here for this broadcast. I said on Instagram and Minds.com and VK and a couple of others, I am going to be arrested. I will turn myself in on Monday.
And that video is on your Instagram, which is Kevin J. Johnston, for people who
just
want
my name, Kevin J. Johnston, on Instagram. So when people were a bit confused, saying, well, he said he was going to be arrested last night, and now he's live being arrested again. It's like, no, it wasn't. No. It was only one arrest. It was this morning. But the ambush, I will admit, it got on my nerves. I wasn't mad about it. I knew something like that was going to happen. I wasn't mad about it, but I'm thinking, this really is pathetic.
Yeah.
This is a little bit out of control. Sorry, this is a lot out of control.
Oh, of course.
Considering that they could have saved the fuel, I would have gone down there myself with my lawyer in tow. Well, this actually ended up working out better. So as they tried to put my hand behind my back, I barked in pain. This shoulder here has popped out twice. I've had it worked on once. From time to time, it just slips, and it sucks. So when I'm bench pressing, I've always got to have someone there watching in case it gives, because it hurts. Yeah. So as he pulls back, and I don't blame him. I'm not saying that he roughed me up. He didn't. I barked out because I was in pain. So I said, if you guys want my hands behind my back, the right shoulder's not going to go. If you use 2 sets of handcuffs, it'll work. That'll work. Fine. They say, if you behave, we'll do it in the front. I said, I'll behave. Put my hands in the front. I was talking with the cop in the car after I got in the back of his car. Rookie cop, only been on the force for 6 months.
I could tell by the video.
Blown away. Yeah, he's blown away about the fact that Bonnie Crombie is the one that's doing all this. Mississauga Mayor Bonnie Crombie told the police, go get him again. Go give Kevin J. Johnston a difficult time again. But I was also educating him, saying, yeah, these bylaw officers out there giving out tickets, it's illegal. Bylaws are not laws. They only pertain to employees of the city. And at a red light, he turns like this to look at me. He goes, are you for real? I said, yeah, man, I'm for real. That's why you guys can't enforce them as police, because they're not laws. They only pertain to city staff. So if the bylaw officers decide they want to ask you for assistance, you can only help them write a ticket to an employee of the city. He was floored at what I said. I mean, you could see the gears beginning to turn, in that maybe he wasn't told the truth in police school.
Yeah. Now, Kevin, so you were arrested. What time was this?
Couldn't have been any later than 9:30. Well, actually, I could probably even tell you.
Right, because I just want to know. So, I mean, court is usually in the morning, and so it's a good thing that you got arrested in the morning and not the evening, so you'd spend the night in jail.
That's right. Yeah, they want to get you out of there pretty fast.
Yeah. And then how long were you in the cell until the court had started?
Okay. Well, first off, I called my lawyer at 9:27 a.m.
Okay. So then 9:30.
Yeah, that's when the ambush happened.
Okay.
Actually, the ambush would have happened maybe a minute and a half earlier. Close enough.
Right. Then you were put in jail. You were.
Yes. Well, I go into the police station, and what they do is they drive up to a garage door. You go in the basement, but see, they know I'm not a threat. First off, every police officer in this province knows who I am, and the ones who don't are usually pleasantly surprised to find out that I've got this online, not persona, that's the wrong word, but an online presence that's powerful as what I've got. And as soon as they compare what they perceive to be a bad presence online, and I'm very cooperative, they're scratching their heads thinking, like, why is this guy in custody? You can see all of them with that look on their face. Why is this guy in custody?
Oh, yeah. A lot of the police, that's why I say, I've made my mistakes and everything. We won't get into that. But, a lot of these police, Kevin, are on our side. And even with me, when I was detained, like, when they realized who I was and when everybody calmed down, a lot of them were even like, hey, you want some extra food? You want this and that? Like, it's almost like a babysitter. Like, they like you, they respect you, they understand what they understand they got a job to do. But a lot of them are actually upset and physically even ill that they have to do this to us.
Some are, yeah. And I agree with that statement. Some are. And when I have conversations with police officers like I did in the car being driven down, it was just one cop and me. And like I said, when I got there, they didn't bring a whole bunch of cops out like they would for a dangerous offender. It was just the one officer and me. I get out of the car. Keep in mind, my hands are cuffed in the front. So if I wanted to attack this guy, I still can. Right? And they know this. And they only had one officer there because they know that I'm not going to attack. They know there's zero danger. There's zero chance of me lashing out and physically striking anybody. So he's polite. He doesn't even grab my arm. I've had it before where cops will grab your arm and drag you into the place. Doesn't even touch me. He just says, yeah, right this way, Mr. Johnston. Always be cognizant. And as soon as he said that, yeah, don't touch the red strip, I said. They've got this big red stripe that goes down the walls that if an officer is being attacked, they can slap the wall and the alarm goes off. And what happens with that device is that everybody knows exactly what square inch of stripe was slapped by the officer, and they'll all show up ready to help.
Yeah.
So I get in there. They ask me if they can take my jacket and my shoes. I said, "Yep, yeah, no problem." And here's the bag. Here's the bag. So all my shoes, my jacket, go into this bag here, along with my belt. I had my sweatshirt on with strings on it. They said that we usually have to take your strings away. I said, I know, but you guys are not allowed to cut them anymore. I don't want them cut. Trust me when I say this. This show is going to be way too good tonight. I'm not going to be hanging myself in the cell. Like, I'm just
Yeah,
not.
I remember the first time. I remember I had this nice sweater. It was it's actually relatively new, actually. And the guy was like, and I'm like, do you really think? I mean, and I was I was joking. Black people, we like our clothes, okay? We love our clothes.
Yeah,
and I said to myself,
you like your clothes, you like your Bing, and you like your cars.
Yeah, and I'm like, you really think, if I'm going to hang myself, you think I'm going to take my nice new jacket, which I just got, to go hang myself in this place? Like, I would sooner wait till I'm just joking, but yeah, I know what you mean. They can't cut it, so. Me, on the other hand, they don't know me, so they took it, and I was freezing in it. But
yeah, no, I get you on that. Well, they took my jacket, but they let me keep my sweater and my shirt on, which was fine. I went to the cell. Believe it or not, after they handed me a blanket and a pillow, crappy blanket and pillow, but who cares? I actually got some sleep.
Wow.
I actually, I'm exhausted. I actually got about 40 minutes of sleep. And when
so they give you a blanket there?
Yeah.
And a pillow, too?
They even let me keep it. They're in the bag.
Wait, this guy gets a pillow and a blanket? I mean, what's that? I didn't think, because usually it's just the solid the solid bench that you better find a way to sleep. I did a blanket and a pillow. If you get arrested, get arrested in Mississauga.
Actually, if you're gonna get arrested, be white.
No, well, yeah, maybe, but I think maybe because
I'm just playing, man. There ain't no white privilege here. Look, for a white guy to be in court, this it was going to be 144 times today, but they couldn't get me a bail hearing, so they just let me go.
So you didn't have a bail hearing?
Times. No, there was no bail hearing. All right, but let me just
yeah.
Oh, sorry. That's Ed. I'm live with Michael Arana. I'll call you back.
Yeah.
There you go. So just got to clear the phone calls out. So I'm in the. I'm now moved to cells. I got a bit of sleep, and they gave me a mask, which I put on here, because in the cells the lights stay on. I covered my eyes with the mask and actually fell asleep. I couldn't believe it. When they came over, what they said was, "Okay, Mr. Johnston, we're not going to be able to get you a bail hearing today because the courts are plugged. Half the judges haven't gone in, and so on. So we're going to release you on your own recognizance today. We just have to find out what your old bail conditions were so that we can make sure they match up." I said, okay. And they said, would you be willing to accept being released on your own today with no additional bail conditions? I said, yes, that is something I would certainly sign up for. They leave the room. The officer that drove me there comes back and says, hey, I've got to go and get your prisoner's meal. And you can see him smiling underneath his mask. What would you like? I said, well, I got to go gluten-free, because I'm now in that stage of, clearing out the Christmas crap and getting back into a state of health. So we agree on a chicken Caesar salad and an apple juice. And not only that, they asked me if there's any medications I have to take. I said, yes, for my shoulder, I need to have an anti-inflammatory. They contacted my pharmacy. They went and got 3 pills so I could have them just in case I stayed in late, and got me a chicken Caesar salad with an apple juice. I had lunch, and I'd say maybe 20 minutes after I finished that lunch, they came back with the paperwork to say, okay, we're going to be releasing you now. Will you agree to these terms? And the new term is, until I can get it fixed or just have the charges thrown out, the new term is I cannot go within 500 meters of City Hall.
Okay.
So think about that.
So that's a
So
new
Bonnie
one.
Crombie is continuing to try her best to keep me in a position where she cannot see me and never has to debate me. But that day is going to come.
Right.
She's not going to be able to hide from me forever.
Right.
I will beat these charges. I will beat every charge that they put upon me, and she'll be dealing with me in the courts at some point.
So
I'm not letting any of this go.
now I
Not
want
now.
Yeah.
and not ever.
Absolutely, and you shouldn't. This sounds like they're playing games, and it looks like the whole system is playing games. I was listening to something from the Rebel where, get this, Ezra has this picture up with some police where it says "fight the fines" and stuff, and now it looks like he's being sued because that picture, it's a generic picture. You can't see the label or anything, and newspapers do that all the time, and they're saying, oh, if you don't modify that picture or take it down, we'll sue you, and he's saying bring it on. So they're playing games because they don't like you. And I want to be very clear, the old bail conditions for you, it said you weren't supposed to be near Bonnie Crombie. It didn't say you shouldn't go anywhere near City Hall. City Hall wasn't mentioned.
Correct. City Hall was not mentioned in the original bail conditions.
So now what I want to know is, what are you planning to do about that? Because you were basically arrested illegally. If it didn't say City Hall, or if they weren't clear, is there something that you can do with your lawyer?
Oh, sure there is. First
you know?
things first. We're going to get the charges dropped. I mean, that charge will get tossed. There's no
That
way
could
for
actually
to
help
stay.
you
It does. It helps me a lot.
with your other cases.
Well, it helps with all the cases.
Mm-hmm.
I will be filing a major lawsuit against the city of Mississauga for that.
Yeah.
There's no two ways about it.
And it's ridiculous that they're doing that. I mean, this is, and I say this all the time to people when I'm talking about tyranny and everything. It's better for us to be mentally offensive and physically defensive, but we can't be physically offensive. We leave that to the government, and then because, you talk about Bonnie Crombie and all these guys, their hatred for you is so powerful. It is so deadly. It's dripping from her that she is losing her stealth. So what she
read this, Mike.
Well,
she's in this.
Right.
Over and over again, she's in this book, and she is not happy.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, she has an opportunity where you would think she has you boxed in. But now, because things weren't clear, you go to City Hall where no one said you couldn't go, and then you get locked up for that. Now that just helps you. So she may have been, I mean, it goes from, it was maybe that you were going to be okay to a now almost certainty that you're going to be okay, because her hatred is so bad that she makes stupid mistakes. I mean, look at even what happened with the Capitol. Everybody was saying, oh, it's so bad that those guys breached the Capitol, blah, blah, blah. And everybody was upset. But then now when Twitter and all of them start censoring everybody, and it's like a genocidal censorship, people are like, whoa, now I can understand why these people are so mad. I don't agree with it, but now I can understand it.
America is about to get a taste of what Canada is, and they're not going to like it. I'm telling you that now. America is not going to like this Biden idiot in office, period.
Right.
He is going to wreck the place. Speaking of Joe Biden, Mike, I also have my new comic book out called Biden's America.
And can that be okay? Right, can that be bought on Kevin J. Johnston on freedomreport.ca?
No. Well, actually, first off, if you're subscribed to freedomreport.ca, which is just $5 a month, you can download it for free.
Okay.
There's going to be a lot of files like this you can just download for free. Or you can go to Kevin J. I can't move my thumb. There you go. KevinJJohnston.ca, everyone, and grab a copy. It's $5. It's the digital issue #1. I'm right now sourcing out printers to get 5,000 copies of it printed. But as it stands, because it's digital, it really does help with the legal fund here. I mean, yeah. I'll just for this day, this charge, I'll be in the hole about 2,000 to 3,000, possibly as high as 5, if the Crown Attorney decides to stretch this thing out. So, I'd like to sell 1,000 copies of Biden's America.
Oh, yeah. Well, I will be more than happy to put the link on my stuff. And I just want to say before we go forward, please subscribe to me on Bitchute, because YouTube is going. It's only a matter of time. Please. Bitchute.com/Arana Nation. I'm not going to be on YouTube much longer. It's just a matter of time. So with that being said, I want to get back to...
I agree. Go right now to bitchute.com/Arana Nation, because Michael Arana will be pulled from YouTube just because he's an honest, conservative, well-spoken, and intelligent man, not to mention handsome. They don't like handsome, intelligent men speaking to you and teaching you the truth. Head over to bitchute.com/Arana Nation right now, because I did.
Yeah,
And I love this guy. And I'm telling you all, you need more Michael Arana. Go ahead.
absolutely. So now, is there a court date
Yeah.
or a bail hearing for this particular arrest?
No, just a court date, just an actual court date. So
Okay.
I don't know if that court date will actually be arguing the case, or will it just be my lawyer shows up and picks up the disclosure, and then we find out there's a trial date like 2 years later. It's probably going to be that. I'll tell you the truth. Unless, of course, we decide to talk with the Crown and say, look, this is ridiculous. We called in advance. Like, the cop acknowledged to me today that he understood that we phoned.
You were
City
doing
Hall
everything you were can to avoid the woman.
Right. I worked hard to not be anywhere near her.
Of course.
I phoned. Actually, it wasn't me, sorry. It was one of my fans phoned on speakerphone, and we all heard it saying, yeah, the mayor will not be in the building today. That's what was said to us. So I worked hard to make sure Bonnie Crombie was not going to be anywhere near me.
I want
and
to show.
I don't go near her.
I want to show everybody right now the video. Is that okay if I show it? Okay.
Please.
I want to show everybody. I'm not going to show the whole thing because most of it is what you did was you recorded it, then you got arrested, and then you left it recording until someone turned off the recording, and then I guess did something with your car. So let's go up here, and it's going to be a little bit primitive, but bear with me. This is the This is the video of Kevin being arrested.
Hello, I'm going to come out now. I'm going to come out. All right. Remember I told you guys the police were going to arrest me? 1, 2. Look at this.
Oh, what happened?
It just says keep watching at the bottom.
So I'm about to get out of this car. I've been sitting in my car talking to my lawyer. I'm going to get out of the car, and I'm going to let this run. I don't know if you're going to be able to hear anything. My car is making all kinds of funny noises right now. So I'm going to jump out now. I'm going to get out. I have your assurance you're not going to shoot me. I'm not armed.
You sound so black.
I have no weapons.
You sound so black.
Okay. I have no ill intent. I am not armed. Okay? All right? There's nothing in my pockets that are dangerous. I'm going to leave the keys inside the car so that there's no weapons in my hand. I have your assurance that I will not be assaulted. I'm all right.
And it's very important to do that with police,
I
too.
need everyone to pass this around, everybody. Yeah. I'm going to get out of the car, and I'm going to get arrested now. So that's that, okay? There we go.
Okay.
My hands are up. Okay.
Yeah, the battery. This is weird, Mike.
Yeah, I saw that part.
At that point in the video, like one of the guys walked around to the front and he was tapping on the car, but I don't know what he was using. I couldn't see it because I'm thinking this is so dumb, right?
Mm.
And then the battery just starts making this weird noise. I couldn't open the door. I swear to God. I mean, it wasn't me fooling around with these guys. I was unable to open the door. So what I was thinking is maybe it wasn't the battery, but somewhere there was like just a loose circuit.
Mm-hmm.
Because it is a power lock, but the car's old, right?
Mm-hmm.
The car's like 30 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So the power lock, it was not letting me push the lock forward,
Mm-hmm.
and it wasn't opening. And that's why I had to say to him, okay, I got to put the keys back in the car to open this door.
Right.
I'm not leaving.
Yeah.
Right? So
and then basically what happened, you fixed it, you got out, they put you in handcuffs, and you were driven away.
Exactly.
And that's pretty much it. So if you want to, I mean, that was basically it. Everything else is just, someone else turns it off.
And I'll tell you this, everybody. For those who are worried about being arrested, I'll tell you the truth. The first time you get arrested sucks. It just sucks, all right? Because you don't know your rights. You don't know the rules. Everything's brand new. I mean, it's where you sit in the basement of police stations. It's deliberately white. It's all white walls, like that concrete stuff. Everything is stainless steel or concrete. It's a very depressing place to be. All the lights are completely encased in bulletproof glass, or at least plexiglass. So it is designed to be as uncomfortable as possible.
Right.
And you don't know what to say. And you honestly are
really
afraid
shouldn't.
that you are going to get assaulted.
Yeah.
But, the second time, it still sucks, but it's not so bad. The third time, it's whatever. And now it's just go in, okay, you got me.
Yeah.
Hopefully I'm out of here today, whatever.
It's different in Canada. I mean, I know America,
I've never been arrested in the United States, so you're right. I have no comparison.
The thing with the U.S. is that it's very, and which it's good and it's bad. I mean, one thing that I don't understand, you would never get out of the United States until you see a judge, and if that takes, I don't know, you just that's just their thing. I don't know what they do if the judge gets sick or whatever, but that's just what I know. But in Canada, I hear this thing about released on your own recognizance. I've heard that in America, but it's pretty rare that happens in the United States.
Well, I think what it boils down to with being released in your own recognizance is you would have to be somebody that they do perceive to be a danger to the public. Mm-hmm. I've been full-time. Essentially, with the exception of that time last year when I was legally not allowed to be on social media. But for 4 years, Mike, I've been putting cameras in people's faces. I've not in any way, shape, or form assaulted anybody. Every time the police come out and say, could you leave? I leave. There's no arguments. I don't cite the rules. I don't cite the Constitution. I don't tell them that, I got the right to be. I don't do any of that crap. I just leave. Also, the police are well aware of the fact that I was assaulted by Antifa, not once but twice. And the police are aware of the fact that in those assaults, it cost me almost an ear. I had to get it rebuilt by a plastic surgeon. And it cost me a knee, which I had to have rebuilt. And the shoulder injury, that's a different one altogether. But no, they are well aware of the fact that even though I've been attacked, and I do have the ability to fight off 46 Antifa guys, which I did, I still am never the aggressor, which is where being released by a signature is something that will happen with a guy like myself. But if I've ever once been seen on camera punching someone out, then that rule would change. There would be a bail hearing, and they would hold me overnight or however long it takes to do so. And that's why I tell everyone the same thing. Until society completely crumbles, which it's starting to lean towards it, don't go to violence. Please, I beg you. Don't hit cops.
No.
Don't kick. Don't do anything. Just let them do their thing. Even though it's childish and dumb, let them do it. Don't argue. Be polite.
Yeah.
I always
say mental offense and physical defense. So if someone's coming in your house with a gun to your head and they want to shoot you, you defend yourself, defend your family, but don't, resort. I know tempers are hot, and I've even made my mistakes, but we have to not play into that hand. It's a lot stronger if we pull back, use our brains to do the offensiveness, which is video, peaceful civil disobedience, disobey orders, this and that. Violence, okay. No.
I got to tell you something, too.
Yeah.
I actually almost forgot to bring this up. Okay. Because I'm still kind of processing the information.
Yeah.
I get in the back of the police car. All right. The cop is polite. So I have to remind everybody who's watching or coming in late, I was not assaulted in any way. The cops were fine. Behavior-wise, everything was fine. The only thing that was stupid was the actual arrest itself. Everything else was fine. I get in the back of the car, and the officer who was driving the car had his screen on. My name, my height, my weight. Now, they had both the height and the weight wrong. Who cares? They had the home address correct. Then it says, try to think here. It was produces material on internet in objection to COVID-19, understands all bylaws, and always films police. So they have these warnings for police officers in advance. I know the bylaws, which I do, Mike. It's not me. I'm not saying anything.
They're saying that he knows his rights. You better be careful.
Yeah, so I think...
Don't do anything to jack him up because he'll jack you up.
So the screen that I saw, which I don't think I was supposed to see, says all this information about me. And I'm thinking, okay, so I have a reputation with the police. But what I did observe in that is there's nothing in that description that says he's violent, prone to violence, or is even argumentative. Those words were not in the description. And I'm actually proud of that. I'm proud to not be known as a violent man because I am not a violent man. I have training in fighting. I boxed for a long time in my 20s, but I refuse to fight outside of the ring. I refuse to be the aggressor in any physical confrontation whatsoever. And I'm proud that that is the way that my description to the police is worded. That's
Absolutely. And that is good. And as I said, it's not kowtowing or anything. As I said, a lot of these guys, and that's one thing I learned, when I was on the inside, a lot of these guys agree with us, but they can't do anything. And I know people say, oh, well, they're following orders. That's the same thing that Nancy said. Yes, but, these guys also have families. They have their wife. They have their children and all this other stuff. And, it's almost like, I don't want to put any disrespect on the institution, but it's almost like being a prostitute, The prostitute can leave. Technically, eventually the pimp will give the prostitute enough leeway to be able to run away. But they put so much fear into that. We'll go after your family. We'll go after your friends. We'll get you. There's no escape. That they just capitulate. But in the back of their mind, they do agree with freedom. They do agree with what we're saying. A lot of them even probably watch us. And they're not in their head in agreement. But, that's why when someone like you is on the inside, they do everything they can to treat you good. If you were known to be a rapist or you were robbing stores or, jacking people for 10 cents, things would probably be different. But the things that you are accused of is, going against the bail hearing, which was not even true.
Right, it was worded incorrectly. I was a false pretense.
Yeah, hate speech. Oh, okay, yeah, hate speech. Everybody now is being accused of hate speech. Now, even Mike Rendell, the guy who makes the pillows, he's now being accused of hate speech on Twitter. Everybody in the world now is. So really, that doesn't mean anything anymore.
No, it doesn't, and that's why I'm also very happy that Twitter's stock is crashing. Taking down the president was the biggest mistake they could possibly have made. Yeah. And right now, I would say that my favorite American public speaker right now is Dinesh D'Souza. He's the Indian guy.
Yeah.
Perfect English. The guy's amazing. Intelligent beyond belief. He, too, was thrown in prison by his government for something really foolish and was pardoned by Trump, though, so thank God for that. He was talking about the Indian woman who was born in the U.S., completely privileged, who was the one that was instrumental in getting Donald Trump's Twitter account shut down. And he criticizes her like you wouldn't believe. Because what she's trying to say here is, I grew up in the South. I am not white. I am subject to all kinds of racism, blah, blah. Just the lies coming out of her mouth. And he, as an Indian man, calls her out on that crap, on the lie. Thank God for that. He has no reservations whatsoever about telling the truth about anybody. And that's what I love about the guy. So what I'm trying to say to you here is he himself indicated he is pleased with the fact that Twitter is now dropping immensely. Mm-hmm. Because taking away the president of the United States' account on Twitter, on a platform that's supposed to be open for everybody, not only set a rotten precedent, but it was designed deliberately to take a specific piece, like an aura, some of the aura of this man. Twitter was this guy's life. It really was. And for a while, YouTube was my life. And they've cut me out so many times, I've given up on YouTube, and I'm finding other avenues to do what I do for a living. But
it was bullying. It was bullying. It even the people who don't like him, it's bullying. And you know what else it does? And I want to tell a story. I have a relative who doesn't like Trump, is a big Trump hater. And yes, go and subscribe to me on Bitchute, Arana Nation. But I have a relative, huge, hates Trump with a passion. But here's what happened when Twitter erased his thing. She's a bit of she tells it like it is. And what happened is Twitter got rid of her now. And she's been on Twitter for years. And she's like, what the heck? What is Twitter doing to me? And you know what she said? She's like, now I'm beginning to see now, she's like, I don't like Trump still, but I'm beginning to see now why he is so aggressive, because these guys are really do have an agenda to shut people up. the point I'm making is that even people who don't like him don't appreciate the fact that you've got this hierarchy, which is literally trying to silence opposing. That's wrong. Even I wouldn't like that. If I heard that Trudeau, or well, I probably now would like it because these are people advocating to lock us down. But before all of that, if I heard that Obama or something was being taken off and no, you can't hear from, I wouldn't like that. Number one, I like to listen to what my opponents have to say so I can challenge them. That's one of the big things. I do. I listen to back at his speeches. I listen to it. But it sets a bad precedent because if they're going to do it to him, they're coming for you. And what goes around comes around.
Yeah. And your aunt has a taste now of what's been done to we on the conservative side of the argument. She doesn't like it. She'll eventually, 2 years from now, when Biden has ruined everything. Sorry, when
Harris. Harris. She's the
when
president.
President Xi Jinping.
Well, yeah, he is her puppet and she is his puppet.
Right. So when Xi Jinping, President Jinping, has ruined America over the next 2 years, your aunt's going to be saying, God, I wish Trump would run again.
Oh, yeah,
and
absolutely.
A lot of people.
That's how these things happen. Things happen. You have to experience it for yourself, even if you don't like this language. And, you know, a lot of the media, they misinterpret things. But even if you don't like, you know, the language or some of the things he does, what ends up happening is that something that has happened to us happens to you, and then you begin to research and you begin to do things and you say, oh yeah, I remember when they did that to Trump, and then you begin to wonder, why did they do that? And then you dig deeper and then you say, was that really necessary? And then as time goes on, you begin to listen to other sides. You stop listening just to CNN. I'm not saying you shouldn't, but you stop just listening to CNN and MSNBC, and you begin to realize, you know, this guy has a point. He's a big mouth. I mean, orange as hell, you know, but he has a point. Maybe I might not vote. Maybe I won't vote for him, but you know what? I can respect him. I'm more open-minded. And I sure as hell don't want big tech to be silencing freedom of speech in the Western world like this. That's what's going to end up happening. And I'll say this about Twitter. MySpace used to be one of the most powerful social media sites when I was in middle school and high school. That was like Facebook, bigger than Facebook. It was the first. Yeah, I remember when I was in high school, it was the MySpace. Everybody, go on MySpace, go on MySpace, go on my... Who the hell do you know who's on MySpace now? Nobody. I mean, and I'll say...
I haven't even seen the... I don't think I've looked at that website in 3 years.
Well, I'll say this. Twitter was always overrated to me. It was similar to Facebook, but it was a lot more complicated. I never had a Twitter to begin with. And when I heard what they did to the gay guy, the conservative gay guy, what's his name? Stropolopoulos or Yiannopoulos? Or Milo Yiannopoulos. When I heard what they did to him and a bunch of other people, I said, now I'll definitely not get Twitter. Because I was contemplating, you know, maybe I can get some more fans. I said, no, I'm not doing it because they're going to do that to me. And now, yeah, there you go. I think Twitter will die. Let me cover
Twitter. Mike, I'm going to tell you about Twitter right now.
Yeah.
They've killed 17 accounts. 17. Mm-hmm. After I said to myself, I'm done. Never again. I'm going to go to Gab and Parler. I wish Parler was back. But as soon as I said I'm done with Twitter, I am less stressed out and agitated all of the time now. It's great. I mean,
and that
Twitter,
goes, yeah. And that's with me and Facebook.
Yeah, it's vicious, vile, evil, dissenting garbage, but it's dissenting against humanity, not against any particular ideology. It is garbage all day long. I mean, I had no idea that many people in the Western world who have everything they need could possibly be so angry 24 hours a day. But when you look at Bette Midler's account or Rob Reiner's account or anybody on the left, they're all hate Trump, oh, hate him, love Biden. You know, and now we're getting found out that Hunter Biden's a child molester and a child rapist, but they still love Biden, and Twitter is okay with this.
And not to mention,
we found out a couple days ago, that Twitter was allowing child pornography. No, I'll never even bother going to the website.
And not to mention, Twitter still has John Sullivan, one of the left-wing Antifa guys, who was caught saying that I'm going to egg Trump supporters on to go in the Capitol. His thing is still on. All the Trump peoples are gone.
Yeah, oh, of course, and that's cost them in a very big way. And Ben Shapiro covered this, and what I was doing was I was presenting an argument for a schism in our society. I figured that the human race would schism probably a couple hundred years from now. And my theory was, especially after being in the war zone in Myanmar, when I saw how bad health-wise Bangladeshis were, I'm thinking, oh my God, if this here is going to be what continues to breed, with fluorine in the water, fluoride in the water, really heavy metals, lead and phosphorus, and all this stuff is in their water supply. Plus, due to culture, they've been inbreeding for over 1,000 years. So the men were like 5'2" and 110 pounds. I figured that that's going to continue. That kind of cultural stuff will continue, and human beings in North America and whatnot will just be genetically better because there's no inbreeding, and we're not living 50 years of our lives with all these harsh chemicals that we have to deal with. Humanity will schism. Now, that was an argument I brought forward. Guess what I got called for? I got called racist for that, okay, obviously. That's the first argument to everybody. But now, I'm seeing that, yes, that schism will happen. I'm not going to be alive when it does, but that schism will happen in the future. We're in a schism right now with left versus right. That's it. There will be credit cards that break. There'll be left-wing credit cards and right-wing credit cards. So if you're on using Visa, you're not going to be able to buy from anybody who is a right-wing business owner, which is happening right now. Gab.com, the Twitter alternative, has been pulled from PayPal, Visa, and MasterCard. They can only take payments by e-check. So, it's impossible to survive.
Yeah, I think that it's a lot bigger than left versus. I think that what's happening is the global civil war will be people who love freedom versus the establishment that wants totalitarianism and wants to make it worse. That's what I think it's going to be, because you've even got people on the left, Kevin, who are going to join our side in things like, forced vaccines, and things like taking away all of our guns, and things like censorship. There are people on the left who don't like that stuff either. Tulsi Gabbard, one big example. Even Duterte in the Philippines, one of the guys we've mentioned before, he's on the left of the political spectrum, but there are people on the left as well who are going to join us in specific things as well. Just as there are people on the right who will, like Doug Ford, who will abandon us and who will side with the globalists and the New World Order. I think that's where the schism is. And I think it's going to come to a head. And it's coming very close to coming to a big head.
Oh, well, where else can it go? I mean, here's what
I'm not giving up, and these guys don't want to give up, so something is going to have to give. And here's the problem, Kevin. You see, being the underdog is one of the greatest things, because when you're the underdog, there's very little that you can lose. Whereas the establishment, there's a lot they can lose. If they were to kill us all, we'd be dead. And then what would they do? Who's going to buy their stuff? Who's going to clean their houses? Who's going to work in their factories for SHIT wages and all this stuff? Who are they going to experiment on? Nobody. So then they end up collapsing. Whereas if they get defeated, then we, the freedom lovers, can come together and start a new society. So that is why being the underdog, the ones with very little power, the ones who have to rely on peaceful civil disobedience, that is the best place to be in the world. I'd rather be here than on the top, Kevin. I'm telling you.
Yeah, and I've also come to the conclusion through all the experience I've got with politicians, losers, that it's better to be just around the middle, because you can affect influence positively and negatively on both sides of the spectrum. Being at the top, you can probably influence everybody, but you're going to lose control fast, because there's always going to be dissenters in the middle.
And
the
being
middle
on the top,
where you get dissent.
Yeah, and being on the top will cause people to get arrogant. I always tell these guys on the top, look, don't overplay your hand, because uneasy is the head that wears the crown. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. Rome, Nazi Germany, the French Empire. I mean, even to some extent, the United States of America. When you become too powerful, where you think you can do anything, just like some of these politicians who see the poll numbers and, oh, I can do whatever. Eventually, you become destructive. You become arrogant. You turn people off, and then people begin to back away, and that's when things crumble. Remember Mulroney in the 80s when he had that huge majority in 84? I mean, it's the same thing. Chrétien is the same thing, and it's going to happen to Trudeau too. It's not just politicians, big tech. I mean, it's happened to, look at big oil. I mean, big oil is going down. It can happen. And underdogs are the ones who will make it happen. Don't rely on politicians. Yes, continue to vote. And I say vote so we can swamp the system so that the people who want to rig our elections have to work twice as hard. But we, the underdogs, are going to make that change. Sorry, Kevin. What do you want to say?
Okay, I was actually just going to say, first off, everything you said is correct. And we talked about schisms in society. Yeah, the whole left versus right thing is out of control.
Mm-hmm.
It will come to a head because the left and the right are now way different from each other, to the point where families no longer talk to each other over issues like wear a mask, don't wear a mask, COVID real, COVID not real, talking about whatever it might be. This is the schism that's even taking place in our families, and it will come to a head.
Right.
But
it's
no
not
other way around that.
But I don't think. Sorry.
Yeah, what I want to say though is, you mentioned earlier in the show, people were a little bit worried about being sued and whatnot. Society's falling apart, folks.
Of course.
Do you really think that these politicians and people that you're going to criticize have time to sue you and drag you into the courts?
No.
Let me give you an example, everyone. I sent a letter off to all the councillors in the city of Mississauga, telling them that I now owned their faces. They belong to me, to do with as I please. So here's what I did. Have a look at that. Hi, I'm Stephen Dasco, Mississauga City Councillor, Ward 1. There is no pandemic, I lied. I am the least masculine man in Mississauga, and I am Bonnie Crombie's puppet. I endorse this book that tells the truth about COVID-19. This is the best book in Canada. Get your copy at kevinjjohnston.ca. Then I did the same thing with Pat Sato in Ward 9, and all of them, I actually wrote a letter telling Mississauga City Council, I own you. I can do what I want with your faces. And I did do what I want with their faces. Not a single one of them replied to that email. Not one.
And here's the thing, too. Yeah. I mean, here's the thing, too. What I'm seeing is there's a lot of people who are being, the establishment is beginning to lose its control because they're going after people in such destructive ways, whether it's through censorship or arrest or fines. Look at the amount of businesses that have defied the lockdown orders. I mean, it's even surprised me, Kevin, because when I came out earlier and said, you know what, we have nothing left but civil disobedience, I didn't know how many people were going to take me up on that. And I'm not saying that I'm responsible for all of the stuff, and that's why YouTube's going to get rid of me, and I don't care. But you have to look at that. They can't arrest us all. Don't be violent, but they can arrest us all. The court systems are swamped, as you even said. They can't even put you in the court. They just let you go. They're just like, there's too many people. Go on about your business, Kevin. We can't deal with this. The toilet is clogged up. It's like, just go, just get out of here. So my point is that it's going to get worse, but they are beginning to lose control.
Very quickly.
The more they react and get aggressive is the worse it's going to get for them. Final thoughts, Kevin.
Well, final thoughts are this. I want all of you to do what I do. Take pleasure in this pandemic. Fake pandemic. Enjoy it. Mm-hmm. I have never, Mike, in this lifetime been closer to my children. I have never been closer to my cat. I've never been closer to my family that are on my side of the argument. And I've never been closer to people like you, good friends of mine like you.
Yeah.
I have had the time of my life getting closer to the people in my life that are really important to me. And not only that, but I've had the opportunity now to abandon bad friends and meet all kinds of new ones who think intelligently like you and I.
Mm-hmm.
And that is something that I want all of you to understand, is that there is always going to be an opportunity in chaos, not to make money necessarily, but to improve you. And if the government's going to give you lots and lots and lots of free time, which they did, they gave me a lot of free time, I took the time and I wrote not one, but 2 books. And while I was writing these books, I also took the time to read another 40 of them. All right, stuff that I've been putting on the back burner for years, I finally got a chance to actually read them. Like Of Mice and Men, I lied about reading that in grade 10. I finally read it. Old Man in the Sea, I lied about reading that in grade 11. I used Cole's notes to cheat the test. You know, I finally read it. I'm finally doing the things that I knew are going to make me a little bit better. And I'm asking all of you, take advantage of the time that everything's closed.
Yeah.
Be close to your family. Get to know them. Have real conversations with your kids, man. I'm going to be dead in 35 years. I'm going to be 50 years old this year. Age 85, if someone doesn't put a bullet in my head before 85, I'm going to think, maybe 85 is a bit too long. Because I'm already fed up with half the human race anyway. But I'm saying here that, Mike, more than half of my lifespan is gone.
Take
and it's
advantage
more than
of
half is gone by almost a decade now. I'm not going to spend any time being worried about things or getting upset about things or being angry, even about being arrested today. I told you I'm frustrated a little bit, but I'm not even angry about it.
Yeah.
Because what they've done here is they've granted me the opportunity to explain with you, and you've now explained as well, that society is crumbling quickly. They're going to find any petty reason whatsoever to silence people on the right, and it's going to fail.
And and I just want, I'm going to say one final thing, and then I'm going to ask you one final question, and then we're going to wrap up. So basically every time there's a global crisis or a schism or, things like this, after that, and it always happens, there are a lot of people who were smart who ended up leaving that crisis stronger. That always happens, whether it's the Great Depression and the war, the World War. People after that, when they came out of that, they were the 50s. They were just, they came out wealthier in mind and economically, everything. Same thing with the 70s, the oil price, all that stuff. So this is a crisis that we have to get through, and we're going to get through. We are going to win it, because there's no other alternative but for us to win it, unless we back down, which I'm not going to do. And once we do win it, I do believe, Kevin, that a lot of us are going to be a lot wealthier for that crisis. My final question for you is, I remember you told me that the officer was confused that you were happy that you got arrested. You told him that you were happy you got arrested. Why were you happy?
I didn't say I was happy I got arrested.
Okay.
What it was, they gave me a ticket.
Yeah.
While I was in the jail cell, they were saying, okay, you have a court date coming up on April 2nd.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and you've got a ticket from the city for not wearing a mask in City Hall. And I just went, yes, finally. It took me 6 months to get a ticket. And the cop looks at me and goes, you're happy about this?
Of
I
course.
said, yeah, I've been trying. And the one cop says, well, you kind of deserved it. You did go in there on camera. I'm thinking, it doesn't matter if they think I deserved it. First off, I finally got my ticket. And secondly, the bylaw officer that issued this ticket was a coward and didn't want to give it to me personally because he knew that I'd probably arrest him for extortion. He went through the police to hand me that ticket. Wow, yeah, it could not have gone any better. So as soon as he hands me that ticket, I had a quick look at it, like, yeah, okay, I hand that back, put that in my bag of tricks. It's in here. All right, that ticket's in here. I'll divulge everything tonight on my live broadcast.
And what are you going to do with that? What are you going to do? What is your plan with this now? What is your plan?
What's my plan with that stuff there?
Well, with the ticket, I mean, what are you...
The plan's this. I'm going to ask for a court date to fight it, obviously, and I'm going to sue the city. I'm not giving them a chance to... I'm not waiting to win the ticket first and then sue. I'm suing at the same time that I put the ticket in. And I will make that lawsuit available to everybody, including the letter that I send in to all of City Council and to all of them. Look, for all you city councilors out there, you're not going to win against me. I have already decided. I am prepared to have you kill me. I am prepared to die for this. You are not even prepared to lose $1 on this. It's the man who is willing to commit suicide is the one that's in charge. You might think you're in charge. You're not.
That is true.
I'm the one who's in charge, and I'm going to show you utilizing every legal means at my disposal that you're going to lose because you have allowed your ego and your misrepresentation in your own mind of what authority you have to dictate your actions, and you have screwed up royally.
They have overplayed. They have overplayed their hand to a point where both you and I are not afraid to die. And if they do, it'll just make things even worse for them. And they know that. They're not willing to lose anything because they know that if they do, they've lost everything. We have nothing much to lose. So that's why the people who have nothing much to lose are always going to be the ones in charge. And with that being said, Kevin, I want to thank you for coming on here.
Pleasure, Michael. It's always wonderful to see you, pal. And listen, man, stay in touch. We got to do more of this stuff because you are the man. I'll tell you. I love the fact that you started doing this a couple of years ago. I saw your first video, and as soon as I saw your first video, I was sold. I tuned in every week to catch what you were saying. And so far, I think I've disagreed with about 5 things you've said, maybe.
Well, the thing I admire about you is that you're in the field more than I am, and that's admirable. And the one in the field is the one that brings these issues to light first, because when you're in the field, you see the battle, and the battle will affect you, and then you can go back and tell the story and convince other people why you are in the field. So Kevin, get a shower. You were in a dirty, filthy jail cell. Get a shower, get something in your belly, watch some television, and go to sleep. You deserve it.
Go to sleep. Dude, I got 3 more shows to do tonight.
Oh, okay. Well, then there you go. Okay, well, go do the shows then, and then go to sleep. But
done deal.
Just
brother.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, take care, Kevin. You have a good day. Good night.
Promise. You too, man. See ya.
All right.